Hey good people, Batavia here. We are back with a new growing year. Alright, so quick housekeeping items. I'm in Chicago, Illinois. I garden in zone 6. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do consider it. We have all kinds of garden things to share. This video, we're going to start off with putting the garden to bed. So I'm going to take you back a couple of months when we did that, talk about the hows and the whys, and then we're going to bring you back to current day, January 2024, and we're going to look at the garden and what state it's in, what's left in the garden, and then what's to come in the next weeks and months as we get into the growing season. Let's dig in. Hey good people, Batavia here. So we are working off of our fall garden checklist, and over the next probably week or so I'll be putting the garden to bed. So one of the things is going to be collecting some material that I need to do that. And so today I'm headed over to a friend's house to pick up leaves. So I have my neighbor across the street who, once he bags up their leaves, I go over and bring them over to my house. And then this friend, she has the most beautiful leaves, first off, but her landscape folks actually shred them and bag them up. And so I'm able to basically pick up as many as I can fit in my car. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in just a few. Okie doke. So I'm going to go back home, unload these. They're likely going to go in the garage as I sort through the leaves I picked up last season from her place. So I have 2 bags here, but that's actually not the issue. I didn't plan properly. So yesterday I spent a good bit of the day clearing out the front yard flower bed. And so these are like a lot of the sunflower stalks, and then some of the other flowers like the hibiscus flowers. They grow on new wood, so I typically cut down the branches. And so the miscalculation here is these are the bags that I need my garbage folks to pick up, but today is a holiday, and so all in all it's fine. I'm not even using the garage to park my car right now because I have so many other things in here. And since it's a holiday though, and when I pulled up I saw the squirrels digging away, and I don't care about the squirrels eating at what's left of the sunflowers, but what they'll do is start to dig and chew away at the bottoms of the bags, which will make it harder for my trash folks to load these up. So I'm expecting that today's Friday, which is my normal trash pickup day, so I'm expecting they probably won't pick up until Monday at the earliest. So I could have saved myself some trouble if I thought about that. Like, the idea hit me, but it was dark, getting dark, and I was really trying to wrap up, and so I would have just put them into the garage and that'd been it. So that's what we're going to do now. I'll basically just drag these into the garage. Again, I'll have to pull them back out probably Sunday with the hope that they'll pick them up on Monday, because otherwise it'll have all kinds of my garden waste and yard waste all over the alley. This is where I would normally park my car, but you can see I have garden things, and then this is where I have like last year's leaves that I picked up. I know, I'm sometimes a little bit obsessive about things, but what I'll end up doing is using these leaves to put the garden to bed, and then I'll have the ones I picked up today and the ones that I'll continue to collect. I'll have those available for spring as I need to top off beds with mulch. Okay, so we are a week later from what we just shared a few seconds ago. It's been a long week. This is the infamous pepper bed from this season. I need to clear and pull all of these plants. This is what I do for putting my garden to bed. So I'll go through and pull all of these plants. There's some seeds back here that I'm going to save. I have some cilantro seeds and some mustard seeds going back way to the spring. I'll repeat those steps in the other bed. So I think what I'll do for this video is I'll show you one of these beds, kind of the steps that I take, and then just know that I repeat those across the garden. But it's such a nice day out today, and we've had basically nice weather all week, but this is the first time I've been able to get out into the garden, and to be quite frank, I kind of just want to sit and relax. But I also know me, and I would prefer to work when the sun is shining versus the weather that we have coming into the upcoming week. I mentioned this a couple of videos ago. You know, it's the same way in the spring and the fall. Like, you really have to take advantage of the days because this weather is not promised for tomorrow. Okay, doke, so I have made this mistake before. It's just about 4:45, but with daylight savings time, it's going to be dark in a matter of minutes. So we got in and out really quickly. What I have here should probably get me through all of next year. It's 25 bags of manure compost, which is the compost I use. I was able to quickly come into Home Depot, order it. Well, basically purchase it, and the guys did a great job with loading it up quickly. And then getting it into my car. 3 guys just basically in, lickety split, got it into the back of my car here. And I'm going to go home, park, and basically work with this in the morning. And the reason why I said that, I've done this before is it's manure, so it has a stench. And so it's going to sit in my car overnight, which all in all is fine. The reason why I'm purchasing it on today is because today is the last day for this year at least, and I'm sure it'll return next year, but the last day for this year that there will be a 11% rebate with Home Depot purchases. Not all, and not all stores are participating, but many of my local stores do. They don't advertise it. I've never seen it advertised, but anytime Menards, which is also a local home improvement store to me, anytime they have their 11% off of everything sale, Home Depot basically runs the sale for the same dates. Menards, I saw it on a commercial today. That's why I knew today was the last day. And then they'll end up bringing it back, probably in the late winter, so maybe March or April or something. Well, I guess late winter going into early spring. But I'm going to need to work with this material before then. So this is on my list of things to do as far as closing out the garden season and getting ready for next year. Oh, while I'm doing this, let me... So earlier in the video, so we started on basically a Thursday where I cleared the flower bed. And then the footage that you saw where I was going to get the first set of leaves was on a Friday. And I realized that, the trash folks weren't going to pick up the kind of garden waste that I had put out behind my garage. So I pulled it back into the garage thinking that they were going to pick it up on that Monday. I pulled it back out Monday, and then I was chatting with my neighbor while I was still outside, and she said, oh no, they had already run, the Thursday before the holiday. So I pulled those bags back into the garage for the rest of the week. Fortunately, they were super duper light. I've had things that I've pulled out of the garden that, have really had some weight on them. So it wasn't that big of a deal. And since then, you saw the compost, but I've actually collected leaves from various neighbors on my block, which has really been a blessing because since again, I don't have any leaves or any trees on my property. While there are some leaves that blow through, it's really not of any large sum for all of the beds that I have that I want to cover. So pleased about that and hoping that I can go through at least this season with the ones that are shredded. Most of the ones I've collected have been shredded already, which again, it saves me so much time. But I'll still collect those that haven't been shredded because I have I don't know what they call it. I'll put it on screen. I got it from like Menards or something, where it's a leaf blower, but you can also change the setting and it's a mulcher. And then you can change the setting from, I think those are the only 2 settings. But anywho, a lot of people that do like lawn care for a living use something similar to that, maybe a larger size just based on the volume that they use. But I've used it over the course of the last handful of years, and it's been really cool to be able to mulch the leaves myself. But I'm ahead of the game this year because some of my friends and neighbors have done that task for me. This is not a task that I look forward to, not just because it's closing officially the garden season, but it's just not the fun work. But I know when it comes to the look of the space, I'll really, really appreciate that. So I can't say that I'm going to get it all done today. Like I had big dreams of getting it all done today, but it's already it's almost 11 o'clock, and I know kind of this sun and this warm temperature, we're going to get to 50 degrees today Fahrenheit. It's only going to be probably for another 4 hours, and I have a couple of things to do kind of in between. Well, I don't have to do them, but I tend to take more breaks when I'm not excited about the thing that I'm doing. So there's that. Human, right? All right, let's go ahead and dig into this next step. Okie doke, so we got it done. It was a long road. Instead of getting everything done in that week, where at the top of the video, it was many weeks, but that's okay. I'm pretty intentional about what I want this space to look like kind of as we go into the off season, since it's the front yard, and I'm super pleased with getting all of these things done this year. So every space you see a fresh set of leaves up here, all of these are the fresh leaves I put in. I also added some compost, that bad compost that I had. So I moved the fire pits. Basically, this fire pit was sitting on top of this one last year with the goal of growing potatoes in here using the roof stout method. That was super successful. So I'm basically planning on replicating that. And so I moved this extra fire pit on top here. Also nudged this fire pit, this bed, over just a bit to line it up with this raised bed and to allow myself a little bit more space. I think this is a dry fitting. I think I'm going to I have one more black green stalk that I bought a couple of years ago that I'm going to put out here. Actually, it's probably going to be more like in between this space. But anywho, I have garlic planted here. I also have garlic planted in these narrow beds. This is like 8 feet by like just over 1 foot wide in both of these spaces. Shout out to the green stalk that has come through all kinds of weather. It's something when it comes to these particular vegetables. Celery. The mint is a little bit worse for wear, but there's a little bit that can be salvaged. I have some oregano and then parsley. Our winter here in Chicago has been mild so far, but winter is absolutely coming. So we had, going back to November, December, we had a couple of days, nights that were like 15 degrees Fahrenheit. But for the most part, we stayed right at freezing, right under freezing. A couple of nice 40 degree, even 50 degree days. And right now our high is 37 degrees Fahrenheit. But we are headed into the truest of winter. We're going to get below zero for quite a bit of early next week. It'll probably be the week that you all see this, so I'm ready to hunker down. Did want to point out this lettuce that I direct sowed at the beginning of September. I'm leaving this here as the reminder that had I come in with transplants, I could have had an entire bed of lettuce and leafy greens, other kind of leafy greens like that. So the reminder is for myself, and it's part of my plan coming into this growing year. And we'll talk more in the videos in the coming weeks and months about what my garden plan is going to look like beyond garlic that's planted in these spaces. What else is going to be planted in these beds for spring, summer, and fall. And speaking of what's still in the garden, let's get to the backyard. One more thing that I need to do to put the garden to bed, I have to take the hose off, especially because we're getting to the most frigid of frigid temps. I have a couple of things to put away. My little mixer container here. I basically cut these back with the thought of maybe 1 or 2 of them will come back next spring for a short period before they bolt. My little buggy here will go into the garage. Before we get to the greens cabinet, so I broke this down, leaving this structure here because next year we're going to move it from here. So remember, this is where we had the tomatoes caged in. We'll move that over here once we get to the point of planting our tomatoes. But for this, again, added compost, cover it with a thick layer of leaves. You can actually see, and then this is the netting that I like. So, I don't know, it's like 3 inches of leaves maybe. Some of these will break down, but my intention is to leave these in place, and that will be the mulch for next spring and going into the summer. This is the spinach that we planted with a goal of overwintering. And so spinach is super hardy. You can see it through the snow. So what we are going to do before next week is cover this set of 2 beds with plastic. So that's the plan for this space. I still have my Vego garden bed here, charged, super pleased with. It's been frozen, thawed, frozen, thawed, frozen, thawed again. One more little plant of celery. We have all of the containers that I've emptied out. I don't plan on doing anything with these. I get this question quite often. In the most ideal world, I would move all of these containers into a place with some cover to allow me to protect them from all of the dampness, all of the rain, snow. While that adds moisture to the containers, it ends up leaving them super soggy once you go into the spring. But that said, it's just I don't really have the space where it's convenient. So I'll basically work with them once we get to the planting season to accommodate kind of that dampness. The greens cabinet, this is its last hurrah. If the weather cooperates, I'll have one more chance to harvest the last of these greens. By my eye, it's probably enough for one big mess of greens. All of these leaves won't be viable, just based on some of the cold they've gone through. But the intention here is to harvest them when they're perky and dry. And so we're going into some rain and basically some frigid temps. And so even before we get to the below zero, this week I have to keep my eye on things to make sure I could come in and harvest these greens. Had I known that they would have bounced back from the weekend, I actually would have spent time harvesting them today. But I need to wrap up and get a couple other things done. So I'm hoping over the next day or two, I'll be able to pick the final greens for the season. Brussels sprouts, we'll talk more about Brussels sprouts when I start seeds coming up this year. I have some thoughts around what's gone wrong with these. As you can see, it's quite a bit of space. They basically had a whole garden bed that they took up, but they didn't produce like you would want. Okie doke, so this is what I wanted to share on this video. We have plenty of things coming up in the next few weeks and months as we get into the growing season. We'll talk about seed starting. We'll actually start seeds. I'll share my growing area with you, light shelving, the entire setup. We'll take a look at what I preserved last year, how I'm using it. We'll talk about that. We'll be back outside with the weather allows, because I want to share with you all what my plan is for what I'm growing where and the why. So we're going to cover off on things like what I want to plant in spring, how I'm going to swap that bed out for the summer, and then how I'm going to move it into fall for this growing season. All right, so if you have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to drop them below, and I look forward to seeing y'all on the next one.